Well, I'm now joined by Walter Fluker, who's the Executive Director of the Leadership Centre at Morehouse College. Walter, thank you very much indeed for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about the presentation you made here.
The main items that we discussed today was one, that faculty, student affairs, personnel, and students stand at a very dangerous and complex intersection, which consists of life worlds and system worlds. Life worlds are those everyday worlds of conversation, meeting in public space as citizens, where we meet and greet one another and talk about what we know and value. And system worlds are those vast, often impersonal, bureaucratic, rational worlds dominated by money and power. And to stand at that intersection, one needs certain skills and competencies in order to negotiate the traffic.
So why is standing at that intersection a dangerous business?
Because it has a lot to do with what we're calling moral development and the issue of ethics. I engage the audience in an exercise standing at the intersection, imagining them to be at the most busy intersection they've ever experienced. And what they had to do was to, one, feel their body for a change at the intersection, because these are intellectuals. We like to stay in our heads. So I encouraged them to really feel their bodies. What was happening in their gut? Were their feet firmly on the ground? And mainly, what was really coming at them? Was there a traffic light? Was there a constable or a police officer to direct the traffic? No, they're the ones who need to direct this traffic. And the challenge, of course, is you can't do it unless you have some sense of direction.
Walter, you raised some really fascinating points there, but how do you give students a sense of direction, a sense of an ethical direction?
Well, let me tell you some of the approaches. Some are on the bookshelf across from us. One is the classical approach. Let's go back to the classics. Let's remember the great stories of Western tradition. What I like to do is to work with narrative. That is, to not only read great narratives and stories to gain ethical insight, but also to think of my own story, to remember my own story, because most of our values, our ways of looking at the world, develop in early childhood. And there are key experiences, as we all know, that help shape character. So when I get to character, when I discuss character, I'm not simply talking about don't drink, don't smoke, don't chew, don't go with girls who do. I'm far more interested in the narrative perspective, which asks questions of identity, like who am I really? What is it that I really want, and how do I get what I want?
Walter, thank you very much indeed for your time today. Fascinating subject. We could talk about this all day, couldn't we?